Antarctica pre-expedition information briefing with HX. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the first of our three guest speakers today, Tudor Morgan. Tudor, over to you.
Thank you very much, Lee. Dear guests, welcome to this pre-expedition information webinar, where we hope to be able to share with you some information on your upcoming voyage, to answer some questions and just prepare you a little bit better ready for your trip. We have in the region of 650 plus people registered to listen to us, and this covers all our three ships operating from now to the end of this season. Joining me today speaking will be my friends and colleagues, Karen Strand, who's our VP of Expedition Development. She's been with us in different capacities, but as an expedition leader in Antarctica since 2002, 2004, and onwards to now currently heading up our expedition development. And we have our chief scientist, Dr. Verena Moraldi, who's worked as expedition staff, but has been heading up our science program for the last 6 years. And myself, I cover sustainability, guest learning and industry relations, but have also worked on the ships. Through this session today, you will hear all three of us speak. So at the appropriate time, I'll ask Karen and Verena to introduce themselves in their sections. But the aim is we will do a short introduction. We'll cover the activities that we operate on board, nature and science and education program, an overview of what to pack, our practical information, and then also give you the opportunity to ask questions. As Lee said, we have a team in our office. They're answering questions online right now. So if you have questions, please use the chat and we'll answer them as we go. But we'll also pick the common ones up towards the end of the webinar. To get on with it, in terms of this webinar, it does cover our three ships, MS Fram, which operates from Punta Arenas and is doing trips via Stanley, South Georgia, and the Antarctic Peninsula, and also at the end of the season back up the coast of South America. Both Nansen and Amundsen, our ships, are operating from Ushuaia, doing slightly different itineraries. Those longer ones, particularly on Amundsen, operating pre-Christmas to also include the Falklands, and after Christmas south of the Antarctic Circle, so slightly longer trips. So this webinar will be a bit more generic in nature because we're covering all those different itineraries from now through to April. So if there are specific questions about a particular part of your itinerary that we don't cover here, please reach out afterwards and we will aim to answer your questions. In terms of course, you've all signed up to go to Antarctica on this trip of a lifetime. Antarctica really is one of those places that just changes your mindset, really opens your eyes. It's really like no other place. It's really mythical, and I've been really lucky to be going for like 30 plus years. And Karen and Verena, we've probably got a lot of experience between us, but it keeps on calling us back, and we love it. So thank you for the opportunity for us to be able to share a bit of our experience with you. One of the big things about going to Antarctica is just the journey. So when you get to South America, it is the gateway, but then you've got quite a bit of a trip to get there. So please bear with us. One of the most important things to bring is that sense of adventure and also curiosity. And this is a true expedition. The elements are really in control. So that flexibility to go with the flow, go with the expedition leader and the captain that will get the ship in the right place at the right time to deliver the best experiences we can with the conditions to you. Our past guests have really enjoyed our trips. We ask everybody for feedback after their trip, the same as we will ask you for feedback at the end of this webinar, so we can improve. Last year we had got a rating of 9.3 out of 10, so we very much hope to increase that rating and for you all to have an amazing trip. We do operate 3 ships in Antarctica, MS Roald Amundsen and sister ship MS Fridtjof Nansen, the newest ships in our fleet, hybrid, the most sustainable expedition cruise ships in the world. They take up to maximum 500 passengers regularly. We'll be operating with about 400 guests on those ships. Very comfortable, stable vessels. And then the queen of our fleet, MS Fram, has been operating now for 20 years. She really is the sort of pioneer of our expedition fleet. All these 3 ships are built purposely for this type of travel, all with ice-strengthened hulls and incredibly maneuverable to take you to places that bigger ships cannot get to. You may have seen in our Facebook groups, our social media, that we did unfortunately have to cancel our last trip that was due to sail on the 18th of November from Ushuaia on Nansen. We had a technical issue. That issue is now resolved. We had the team working on that. There was a little issue with the propulsion. That is now fixed, and Nansen is back on track and will be sailing again in 2 days' time on the 28th. So all fixed and back on track. So just in case you had any questions about that. Another question that comes up quite a lot is the temperature on board, and we'll cover that when we talk about what to pack. But the temperature on board, give or take a few degrees, is kept at a constant around 22 degrees Celsius. That's 72 Fahrenheit. So very comfortable on board and nice and warm. When you leave Ushuaia or Punta Arenas, then whichever direction you're going, whether you're going towards the Falklands or South Georgia or down to the Antarctic Peninsula, you have to cross a big body of water. This is, we use this time really well in terms of preparing you for expedition. It's also a good time for you to reflect and look at where you're going, and also get a little bit of rest after your flight and travel to South America. But in this case, we do not know the conditions. The Drake Passage can be rough, like the picture on the left, or it can be a Drake Lake. So Drake Shake or Drake Lake. If it is really, if it does happen to be rough, then the captain does look at the routing of the ship to make the most comfortable crossing possible, potentially slowing down or speeding up to make the best and the most comfortable crossing we possibly can. I'll talk about seasickness prevention a little bit later. This season, you will have seen we have our now all-inclusive benefits, which the aim is that you do not have to put your hand in your pockets to bring in any money for the day-to-day what you need to do on the ship. So we cover all food, drinks, or except the premium drinks, and the things on board, including gratuities are included, but of course the crew will welcome any more tips. And then we also, of course, give you expedition jackets, water bottles, and our onboard program. And our professional photographer and logbook will come in at the end. So you can expect to have those all included as part of the trip, just as a day-to-day activity. So that's we were charging previously for some items of that, like some of the drinks, but now all inclusive. On board, we do have, on the bigger ships, we have 3 dining options. We have Auna, Fredheim, and Lindstrom, ranging from the classic, our classic big restaurant at Auna, and Lindstrom, which is a la carte. Both Auna and Lindstrom feature on all 3 ships, but on the bigger ships, Nansen and Amundsen, we also have Fredheim, which is more relaxed street food, if you want to call it that, where you can dine in. The choice is yours where you eat. If you are a suite guest, then you do get to eat in Lindstrom. If you're not a suite guest but you'd like to eat in Lindstrom, then there's an option to book and join an evening or lunch meal in Lindstrom. In terms of when you are south, then of course we're going into the area of 24-hour daylight and sun. Around now, the December and January period, then the sun will just be dipping below the horizon and giving incredible light about 2 o'clock in the morning. So you can't afford to sleep. You've got to be out enjoying yourself the whole time. But as you get on later in the season, you can see there in March, and as we get into April, then the days do start drawing in. So you get a bit of shorter day, but you also get in those incredible sunsets and sunrises. The conditions, the temperatures really vary when you're whatever time of year it is. So I'd expect around now in December, January, from the coldest probably -5 to +5 Celsius, so up to the sort of the high 20s Fahrenheit. So pretty comfortable when you're ashore. But in all these things, we'll talk about the packing, but we'll talk about layers and how to look after yourself and be as comfortable as possible. When we go on board and off the ship, then we do, obviously the aim is an expedition to do lots of activities. So I'd like to hand over now to Karen, Expedition VP of Expedition Development, who will talk a bit about our activities. Over to you, Karen.
Thank you very much, Tudor, and great to see more than 400 people signed on today. Good number. So I'm going to first start to talk about a little bit about our teams. Our teams are between 15 and 25 expeditions teams. These are the guys that and girls that will be joining you on the landing sites. They will be joining you for the educational program, and very many of them are jack of all trades. They can do a lot of different things. They drive boats. They even lecture on geology and other things. So a team that will follow you for your activities throughout the voyage. So they have a range of expertise. I said many of them are jack of all trades, but there are many of them who have also very specific expertise, like, for example, geologists, and like Tudor sitting right there, he is one of them. Biologists, Verena is one of those, for example. You have historians, you have also environmental scientists, and you have activity guides that will take you safely onto the more specialized excursions and activities. So we have ornithologists as well, very important because we do see a lot of birds. So there is also, last but not least, also a professional photographer on board that will help you. And Tudor is going to say a little bit more about that, or Verena, one of you, are going to say a little bit more about that and what the photographer actually provide to you. So that's a little bit about our team. And then we move on to the activities. What are these team members actually going to provide for you? What they will provide is together with the expedition leader, there is a little management team that will kind of design the voyage for you. Every voyage is unique. It's all catered and adjusted for weather, especially wind. Wind is what we are always trying to avoid, basically, because it can rain, it can sleet, it can do a lot of things, but wind is the showstopper. So meticulously, they look at weather forecasts and areas where we can go. So the landings and the small boat cruising is the core of the activities, getting you ashore and getting you onto the boats. Seeing the same landing site from a small boat and from land is very two different perspectives, and that's why we want to offer both of those as often as we can. We have so those two are core. Then we have a few optional opportunities that take smaller groups, and which is also not part of the all-inclusive. It is, as we said, optional, so you pay a little fee for those, and that's the snowshoeing. Smaller groups go on that, and we have camping as well, when possible and weather permitted, and kayaking. And those three, we're trying to put those three activities up when it's fitting and suitable. Then we have, I would like to just mention polar plunge. We do polar plunge from shore, but we have started something new. We are very proud of this. And that is that we also do it from the vessel. We do it from a Zodiac. So you can jump in with a harness and then get to really experience the elements, so to speak. Very safe, doctors right by, everything is all done. We have worked so long on these procedures. We are very proud to be able to offer this to you in a safe manner now. So looking forward to hear you guys doing that.
I love, Karen, how we have the doctor on standby, but fortunately, the doctor's never had to come into use.
No,
it's always something we have there. Yeah.
It's always good to say it, because people do actually want to know what kind of safety measures we have. But you're absolutely right, and I think actually, Tudor, is exactly that is why the reason we haven't had to use them is because they're there.
Yeah.
So. And then we do get questions around hiking. Antarctica, with all the ice and the glaciers, there's not a lot of long hikes there. There is landing sites that you can do, which takes you up to a hill and so forth. And it feels quite strenuous. It does, because hiking in snow is very different from hiking on bare ground. So there will be opportunities to walk up to hills and stuff, and the snowshoeing is really the hiking. But there is, like Deception Island, there is an opportunity there to do a bit of hiking. And if you join Fram to South Georgia and the Falklands, or if you are with Amundsen going to the Falklands, I have to say Falklands is very underrated. And there you will be able to walk up to several kilometers to go to see some of the penguin colonies, or even the black-browed albatross colonies there. So yeah, I think that's it. I think all the onboard stuff.
I'll ask you one question, Karen. In terms of the number of activities people can do a day, can you just talk through, landings?
Oh,
boats, how much can our guests expect to do every day?
Yeah, how much can you expect? So on a calm day, you can expect to be doing a landing and a Zodiac cruising as a minimum. If the weather is a little bit on the iffy side, then you can expect at least a landing or a Zodiac cruise every day. But we try to make what we call a double up. So it means that you land in the morning and you do Zodiac cruising in the afternoon, or vice versa. If you are signing up for one of the alternatives activities, and the one that we do most is the kayaking, then you can actually end up doing Zodiac cruising, kayaking, and landing on the same day. But no more than that, because basically there is no time to be able to do 4 activities. So the golden rule is 2, weather permitted 1, and on a full max day 3.
Yeah, and in terms of timing ashore, we try and maximize the amount of time we can allow for our guests. But Antarctica is regulated, so we can't have any more than 100 people ashore at any one time. So we rotate people through, but we make sure that people can see everything they need to. So we sort of plan on an hour to 90 minutes for ashore at any one time. So in terms of preparation for guests,
on average, it's 90 minutes. And then so it's but the 100 rule is very important. This is any operator, anyone who operates down there have the exact same rule to abide by. So there's no change to anyone. And we have slot times for when we need to be at places.
And one of the things we were picked up on the previous webinar we did, we kept on talking about zodiacs, and one of the comments and the feedback was, what's a zodiac? It's our small inflatable boats that we can take up to 12 guests with one of our professional drivers in the boats. That they're the workhorse of the industry that take you back and forth from the ship to the shore and cruising, science boat. There are our little taxis that take us everywhere from the ship.
Super simple. I consciously said small boat this time.
But just to make it clear, that's what they are.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Okay, I'll hand over now to Verena, who's our chief scientist, to talk about our science and education program.
Thank you, Tudor. Yes, so you are really about to embark on one, I hope, life-changing trip where you will encounter incredible landscapes, icebergs, an abundance of wildlife that will really impress you. You will meet penguins, whales, other seabirds, seals, and a lot of unexpected creatures, I hope, below the ocean's surface. As Karin mentioned, you will be accompanied by our experienced staff, and I am pretty sure they will help you to make this the most amazing experience of your lifetime. So when it comes to terms of our science and education program, what you will get on board is all of this. You will be in touch with the real scientists joining our ships. This is one very important part of our science and education program, is that we offer our ships as platforms of opportunity for researchers to join us, and this throughout the season. I am very happy to inform you that you will get scientists on every departure from now until the end of the season. Thanks to our science and education program, we are also able to offer you an immersive learning opportunity on our ships. We have state-of-the-art science centers. This is the place where you will get to get your hands dirty, participate in science-related educational activities together with our experienced staff, or you will also have the opportunity to interact with our guest scientists in this area. Karin mentioned the small boats cruising. We also offer what we call our science boat, where together with your help, we will be collecting oceanographic data, such as water samples, deploying oceanographic instruments to measure temperature, salinity, chlorophyll content of the water, and so on and so on. All of this data will be shared with researchers and will also be used to show you a little bit more about the oceans in the Science Center. We also participate in a number of citizen science projects. One of these examples is the image all to the right on your screens now, the SekiDisc project, where also with your help we collect very important data to inform how populations of plankton are adapting to climate change throughout the world. But coming back to our scientists, we have partnered with several worldwide renowned research institutions, and for these trips, for our Antarctic season, I can confirm that researchers from all these institutions on your screen now will be joining us on all our 3 vessels operating this Antarctic season. Just to give you an example of what these researchers received from us, last season we allocated more than 1,600 cruise nights. We welcomed over 80 researchers, and again this season all of these partners will be joining us again. So all of you will have the opportunity to be on a trip with a guest scientist. So take this opportunity to interact with them and to get a unique insight on what it is to work and do research in the Antarctic. We also mentioned citizen science projects. We do participate in a number. Some of them are application based. So we do have internet on board, but it is patchy. It does not really allow for big application downloads. So here you have a collection of the most important that you need to have on your device if you want to participate in our citizen science project program. iNaturalist is a great application that will allow you to monitor or to identify anything living that you come across. So very good also to keep a record on what you observed. SekiDisk, you heard of it. It allows to have an indication of what is swimming in the ocean. eBird allows you to do lists of the birds that you are encountering, and it is linked to Merlin ID, which is an incredible app which allows you to identify birds even by the sound that they produce. So it's amazing. Happy Whale is not an application, it's more a web-based application or citizen science project, but it allows you to identify whales and follow them through their migration throughout the year as well. Globe Observers allows you to make cloud observations. Fjord Fito is the project that we will be supporting mostly when going out on the science boats. And yes, so this list will also be shared in the chat so that you can study and prepare yourself for these projects. And what comes from regarding life on board, everything that happens on board, from the deck watches, guiding wildlife spotting sessions or guided spotting sessions, the onboard lectures, the science activities, and so on, everything will be shared or informed to you during the briefings, and it will be available on your Hurtigruten app daily program. So please make sure also to have that application installed on your device so that you can follow up exactly what will happen when and where on the ship. Everything, yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's fair to say, one of the things that, the feedback we get is, how immersive our science and education program is, and how our guests really enjoy getting involved with it. And some get, it's you choose as a guest how involved you want to be, but it becomes addictive, and it really, that learning and understanding of, particularly we're talking about Antarctica, is really important in the responsibility of us going there as and keeping our eyes open. So not just as a visitor, but also to be there to learn about Antarctica.
Absolutely, Tudor. And your comment comes perfectly in time to what we are going to announce next, is that in collaboration with the University of Tasmania and its Institute for Marine and Antarctic Studies, which is one of our partners, we have created a pre-voyage course that we are piloting this 24-25 season, and we will invite all of you joining us on our ships to take part on this one-of-a-kind educational component to our Antarctic voyages. So it is designed to enrich your understanding of Antarctica and to be better prepared for what to expect when you join us. It takes approximately 4 hours to conclude, and at the end of it, you may earn a digital certificate of completion of this course. So we are really super excited about this, and we are also looking very forward to hearing your feedback on this first of a kind course that we are offering to you. Oli has asked me to share with you that the link to participate in this pre-voyage course will be shared as of tomorrow via different platforms, and he can give us a little bit more information during the questions and answer session. Thank you, Tudor. That's
Brilliant.
for
Thanks.
me,
Yeah,
I think
so be our first launch of this tomorrow, so it'll be going out. But it's been a long time in development, so very exciting for us to get it out, and hopefully you'll all enjoy dipping your toes in it and getting a better understanding and preparing you for your voyage. If you are leaving imminently and you don't have time, then you can do it when you come back.
yes.
Or even
Yeah.
if there's enough bandwidth when you're on board, if there's enough bandwidth, but far better to do it in the comfort of your own home.
Or do it also afterwards as a reminder of again
exactly.
a second time. Why not?
Yeah.
This is 4 years in the making, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
We've been working a long time with this. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot.
But
it's
it's still very nice to be able to launch it now. So good job.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just cover a section now on a few of the regulations piece and also what to pack. Antarctica is heavily protected and quite rightly so. And talking of responsibility, we take that as an operator, but also for you as guests to do that. Avian influenza, HPAI, has been very much in the news and is spreading around the world. I think Australia is still the only major island, or Australasia, not to have it. It is apparent and presenting itself in Antarctica, not just in birds, but also in mammals such as seals. At every landing, we monitor the sites and we report back if we see any signs of it. So some sites may close if there is mortality, but again, the team are there looking and preparing for so we don't cause disturbance. There is one site in the Falkland Islands that is closed, Volunteer Point. So those that are visiting may have had notification that excursion is no longer available. You'll see in this picture that there's a picture of our rubber boots that we will provide for you. We do have those in sizes, virtually, I was going to say most sizes, but size 32 to 50 in European, or 1 to 18 in US, or 1 to 15 in UK. So we think we've got most people covered. These will be loaned to you for the entirety of the trip. Biosecurity is very important. So please make sure your clothes and equipment, especially Velcro, is clean before you leave home. That you clean out any backpacks or things you may take ashore with you. We will do a check and ask you to do some vacuuming on board to clean your areas. And then before and after every landing, we go through a boot scrubber to make sure our boots are very immaculately clean, and also go through a biocide. So that really cleans the boots. Anything that touches the ground needs to be cleaned. So tripods, walking sticks. We will provide walking sticks ashore for you, so our teams will take them ashore and bring them back and forth. So plenty of cleaning to be done, but keeping that the Antarctic environment pristine is very important. In terms of what to pack, the ships are very, very informal. You don't, unless you like to wear a tie or a snazzy dress, then feel free to take those. But we don't expect you to dress up. We do recommend some comfortable footwear for on board. Trainers, sneakers are quite good, or it's comfortable footwear. Remember, also going out on deck, so some warm footwear with a good sole in case the deck is wet from spray or even snow. So please do that. The sun is incredibly strong. There's an area of ozone thinning, so sunglasses and sun cream, very important. Taking a backpack to carry a small backpack to take your some extra layers on or off when you're ashore is good. We provide you with a water bottle and an expedition jacket. I'll be showing that on the next slide. One of the questions we get about cameras, what's the best camera to take? I would say the best one to take is the one you've got and is the one you're used to. But if you do want to upgrade, then do feel free. It is important with all our equipment that we look after it. So whether we have lanyards on, that it doesn't blow away. particularly cameras or mobile phones, because it's really worth having a lanyard on it, so you can't drop it. Obviously, hands do get colder as you operate them. Yeah, mobile phones, high-end mobile phones do have incredible camera functions.
Yeah.
On board, we do have hot tubs, sauna, a small pool on the bigger ships. So swimwear is good to bring. We also have good gyms. For power, make sure you bring your adapters. We do have European type C outlets on board. We also have some USB plugs that you can plug USB-C straight into. One question, and we ask any expedition team member, what should you bring? And it's don't forget your binoculars. Having binoculars to sort of see the zoomed in environment, whether it be wildlife, the details of birds or whales, or just the landscape, is a really nice thing to have that you might not have. Again, people ask what is the best objective lens size. Again, between 32 and 42 mil seems to be the preferred things, but obviously things that you know not too heavy so you can carry easily. But binoculars definitely a recommendation. And then for activities, we recommend lots of layers. You can regulate. We also recommend natural materials because they really provide the warmth and also don't produce microplastics. So wool, merino wool, good old-fashioned jumpers are brilliant, but just multiple layers, bring those. You can see here a picture of our new expedition jacket that you will also receive and get for you to keep. And again, multiple sizes available for you. But yeah, there are laundry facilities on board, so you can get your items clean, so you don't need to bring enough pair of pants for every day, so to speak, but you can get things laundered, no problem at all, usually an overnight service or 24-hour service. So that's in terms of packing. And then in terms of some just sort of practical information, of course, we are sailing to a remote area. We are part of the Antarctic Treaty is to be self-sufficient. So we ask all our guests to go through a medical. You should all have your medical form and that screening process. We're aware that some doctors do not like doing medicals. We don't know why, but that's the BMC has instructed people in the UK, doctors, that they shouldn't do medicals. So our medical provider VCAN also offers a online service. The medical form is actually in two parts: one, a self-assessment, and then a doctor assessment. And we can do that online, and you should have already had those details. As part of that process, the release of information, etc., is given when that medical is completed, because we want to make sure everybody's fit to travel. If you do have medication, the same as you go anywhere else in the world, when you travel, then please put some medication in your hand luggage, because airlines these days seem to be overrun, and not always does luggage turn up at the appropriate time. So just to be sure, please bring either extra medication in both bags or split it, just to make sure you're covered, because on the ships, although we do have a pharmacy as part of our medical facilities, we don't have a lot of prescription drugs. People ask about seasickness. We do stock seasickness tablets on board, but again, if you want to bring your own, please do. Patches are popular, as are ginger tablets, all sorts of wristbands for motion sickness. Our ships do have stabilizers. They are slightly bigger, so they are pretty stable. But of course, everybody's different. So if you feel or you get motion sickness, then do come prepared. Roughly 1 month before you leave, you will get your full final documents, but your booking does need to be paid. You do have to have your medical screening form approved and your insurance in place. But at the latest, 3 to 4 weeks before, you'll get those. In that information, you will get the information about your hotel, your book transfers, your meet and greet with the staff off site, the contact details, the hospitality desk, where to join. One of the questions we do get asked is about the charter flights, whether it be from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia and return, or from Santiago to Punta Arenas, or the varieties depending on your itinerary. We do the flight from Buenos Aires or Santiago to southern South America is roughly about 3.5 hours, and we get you to those destinations usually mid-morning. So it usually means the flight is leaving Buenos Aires or Santiago at about 6 in the morning. So depending on where your hotel, just to warn you, we can ask you, or we will be asking you to leave the hotel maybe at 2:30, 3 in the morning. So just to prepare you, that's part of the charter flight to get you to the ship on time and prepare, and also to get you out when you disembark the ship to get you back to Buenos Aires or Santiago. So just so there's no big shock about that, but yeah, part of the it's quite a long way to get you to the port. But that's at your hotel in Santiago or Buenos Aires, there will be a hospitality desk and team there to meet you and give you those final details, because we get the slots agreed with our charter airline, and that's agreed you're fairly close to the departure time. So they're not scheduled flights if you're booked onto our charter. So hence we can't give you a ticket now, but it will be there in Buenos Aires or Santiago. If you want to do some further reading as well as doing our pre-departure course, then I'll just ask Verena now to talk about some of our recommended books.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Tudor. So yes, the pre-course will provide you with a lot of information, but if you are the type that wants to hold a good book in your hands, these 4 or 5 books are a very good starting point. The Antarctic Peninsula Visitor's Guide is an incredible compilation of everything about Antarctica: the climate, ice, currents, geography, wildlife. It's really a very, very good book. If you are more into history, well, all of you know about the Endurance expedition, Shackleton's led Endurance expedition, and its ill-fated end. The ship was lost. This one is a very nice story to read about, particularly when sailing in this area. The Storied Ice, on the other hand, gives a very nice compilation of all exploration in Antarctica up to date almost. And if you are more a wildlife person, the Antarctic Wildlife Guide is excellent. It has penguins, seabirds, seals, whales. So everything you want to look at is in that wildlife. And if you want more detail on the marine mammals, then the Whales, Dolphins and Porpoises handbook from Carwandin is your book. It also has a very nice it shows you how the whale will surface in the water so that you can recognize it based on how it surfaces and how it blows and how the tail shows and so on and so on. So all of these 5 books are highly recommended if you are a book lover. Thank you, Tudor. Back to you.
Fantastic. And we're coming to a close before we go to question and answers. But we have recently launched our HX Explorers loyalty program called Explorers. So please feel free to join that. The loyalty, the URL, travelhx.com loyalty, is there on this slide. We do have some priority and some partner discounts for you to enjoy, and also a discount on future bookings and things like that. So a bit of a fun group. We used to be called the Ambassador Program back when we were all Hurtigruten, but now we've got a separate little one for HX. And then We will also share this slide with our contact details, depending on where you are in the world listening. I'm sure you're already in touch with your sales agents, so please, if you do have further questions after this webinar, then please do reach out, and of course our teams are there ready to support. I will now go to questions and answers. I know I've seen there's been lots of questions flicking in the screen, and I'm sure our team have been answering in the background. But I'll turn this off and I'll ask, Jesse is joining. I'm not sure if Olga's going to join us on camera or Ollie, but if I'll ask Jesse to be a question master who's been fielding the main questions.
I believe I can handle that. Hello, everyone. So many questions. Wonderful. And lots of good ones too. I'm going to personally address a couple of very common ones right off the bat. Those of you with questions about your medical screenings and the timings of them, once you've reached once we're at 90 days before your sailing date, the medical screening forms become accessible on our website. Once you've submitted the first guest form, you'll receive access to the doctor's form. These can be filled out at any time. They must be submitted during the 4 to 8 week period before you're sailing. That is when we're accepting the forms. But you'll have access to those forms essentially after your final due date has passed. And the other question I wrote down, but I'm not seeing it right now, so we'll come back to that. Say Tudor or Karin, if you could elaborate a little more on the boots, sort of the size range that we have, as well as any requirement, if they're able to bring their own boots and any requirements they must meet.
Karin, go for it.
The boot person. So the boots range from a children's sizes 32 to adult size 50. So you have the whole range there. And if you want to bring your own, the demand is that it is a rubber sole and rubber footing on the boot. It can be neoprene when you come up to the cuff. Then that's what we have. We have what we call muck boots. Those are very good and well insulated as well. But if you have a welly or a normal rubber boot or boots, that will suffice. But the reason is, like Tudor said, is that they have to go through rigorous cleaning before and after, or mostly after each landing, to be with the rules and regulations that we have to follow. So so cleaning and not bringing biomaterial from one place to the other is the reason for these rubber boots. Yeah.
And if you were to bring your own boots, we can't guarantee the expedition leader will allow you to wear them because of the nature of the sole. Because if the sole can pick up lots of material at a landing, then they won't like you to wear them. But if you do have your own boots that you're really precious about wearing and you want to take them, then they need to be cleared by the expedition leader on board for you to wear them. But we're trying to get you out of the need to pack and bring heavy boots in your baggage. And we know the soles on our boots work on many.
And we do have a few pairs for people with a bit larger calves, because we do know that there are differences in that, and some calves or boots can be too narrow, the standard. So we have a few with extended calf. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I did find the other question I wanted to address. A lot of questions about luggage on the charter flights.
Yeah.
Standard is 1 checked bag, 1 carry-on, 1 personal item on the charters between Ushuaia and Buenos Aires, or Punta Arenas and Santiago de Chile. If you require more, please reach out to us directly, your local customer service number, and we will try to arrange for an allowance on that, but we need to know ahead of time. So if you need it, please let us know as soon as you can so we can try and make arrangements for that.
In theory, you shouldn't. But
No, some
but
folks do
people like to
travel
bring.
before and after as well. It's you're
Yeah,
going
yeah,
that
yeah.
far, some people really
Exactly.
go
Yeah,
at it. And
yeah.
if you want to, you could, if you're going to be staying in the same hotel before and after the voyage, you can try to make arrangements with the hotel to leave any extra luggage you don't need in Antarctica, but you would have to do that yourself. You can contact the hotels directly yourself to inquire about that. Next question, very important one. Verena, are you bringing your cat on board?
I love that
No,
one.
unfortunately not. I would love to though.
Mrs. Chippy.
Okay, well, a
Yeah,
follow-up
Mrs.
question
Chippy.
for you, Verena.
Thank you very much.
Is there a cost for the Antarctica course, the University of Tasmania course?
No, it is free of charge for all of our guests and staff. So you will receive, Ollie, if you want to jump in, do as well. You will receive a link and a code to access the course. But Ollie, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. We will be sharing a link via email tomorrow, so that will include a link and a access code for you. And I'm pleased to say there is no charge for our guests. So you may see that there's a price at the top of the form, but once you enter the code, please be assured that it's completely free of charge for our guests for this season.
Thank you, Ollie. Okay, so let's see. So many questions. Okay, so from a health perspective, would you recommend passengers receive a flu shot or a COVID booster before coming?
I think the again, totally personal preference.
Yeah.
In terms of that, if you're susceptible to catching a cold or flu, then yeah, I would take normal precautions. So if you'd like to, then please do. There's no requirement to do so. But yeah, normal precautions when you're traveling.
Thank you. And I would also like to add to that, if you are particularly susceptible or worried about it, you can always wear a mask on board. Everyone nowadays completely understands.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's move to some activities questions. Could you guys explain a little bit more about how the kayaking or snowshoeing works? How many people can we take at a time? How many days might we have opportunities for that?
So for snowshoeing, it's a good question, actually. I think I actually left out the fact that snowshoeing is very good now, and there will be a few less sites that will have opportunities later in the season because the snow melts and there is more bare ground exposed. But now it's early season, it's really good. So I would say that once, maybe twice in one trip, normally once, but then we keep it running for maybe 1 or 2 rounds before we do it. But typically around 50 people can go in each round for a snowshoe trip, and they all go in single file up on the hill and get normally a very nice view when they come on top. So that's once, maybe twice during a Antarctic stint. Then for the kayaking, there is more opportunities to do that. So on an average, maybe 5 days, 5 to 6 days in Antarctica, we could at least twice is the normal amount of us being able to take the kayaks out. All dependent on the weather, of course. But on average, I would say twice we can get the kayaks out, and if we're lucky, every day.
And in general, I think there's no normal trip, but generally, everybody that wants to go kayaking gets a chance to go kayaking. And snow conditions dependent. Later in the season, it's harder for snowshoeing, so sometimes we just won't offer it if there's no snow at our good snowshoe sites. So those that want to go snowshoeing tend to be able to go snowshoeing. The camping is limited in numbers, and that is done by a lottery system on board. So people sign up, and it's pulled out of a hat. And there's a maximum. We can only take 30 people on a camping trip.
That's our permit.
So, yeah, that's a permit thing. So we can we try and accommodate as much as we can. But yeah, generally kayaking, everybody gets to go. Snowshoeing, everybody gets to go, depending, all condition dependent.
Yeah.
So as far as activities go, even including just landings, what sort of fitness level should our guests strive for?
Well, fitness, this is a tough one, because I mean, you can do as much as you want and you can do as little as you want, really. I mean, if you only stay close to the landing site, I mean, where you go out off the boat, you don't really need to be that fit. What I would say, though, which is important, is that you have enough mobility to be able to get in and out of a Zodiac. It's not very high, but sit, spin, and slide onto the pontoon, and going into the Zodiac is quite important to be able to enjoy that wonders that Antarctica has to give you. So I would say that, and then it's up to you how much you would like to walk. You don't have to walk that much if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You can even just sit on the bags we have on the landing site. We have quite a few doing that as well. We
want everybody to get the most out of it, and we're totally aware everybody has different fitness levels. And of course, getting to a viewpoint isn't for everyone, but getting off the ship and enjoying that, or kayaking is a fantastic experience on the water, and it's so different from going in a Zodiac cruise. So those different areas, everybody gets something different out, but we also want to give we have lots of different options to give that variability to our guests, so they can make the most of the trip.
Right.
And the hardest thing about kayaking isn't kayaking; it's getting in and out of that thing. So that's the kind of if you go through that hurdle, you're good. And it's just to use your hands and paddle.
Or the
silence.
Suit, Karin. Also getting into the suit.
Yeah, and getting into the suit, you're absolutely right. Getting into the dry suit is maybe the biggest ordeal. Yeah.
After all the good food, right?
Yeah. People do actually. They do actually have a little bit more on when they come back than when they left.
Yeah.
Unless you walk up on every hill. Yeah.
On the topic of clothing, Karen, there's been a lot of questions in the chat about waterproof trousers and ski pants, and what we recommend. I know you're quite passionate about this topic, so
yes. Oh yes. The waterproof trousering, yes. That is a given, a necessity, because you are going to be in open boats coming to and from the landing sites. Also, enjoying a small boat cruise for 45 minutes to an hour could be that it's calm when you start, and then suddenly the wind picks up. Yeah, exactly. And then it's going to be spray into the boat and all of that. So waterproof trousers, please. Yes, if you could bring that with you, you're going to be enjoying your trip so much more when you have that, and you don't have to worry about getting wet.
And just to add one thing that I didn't mention waterproof trousers, pants in the kit. Apologies.
No.
But our expedition leaders in particular hate jeans. Jeans are the worst trousers to wear off the ship. When they get wet, they strip the heat out, cold. So don't try and wear jeans off the ship, because the expedition leaders will stop you, because they want to keep you warm and safe.
Yeah. And it's also a safety issue. If we, for example, going to have to stay a bit longer because the wind takes up, as I said, wind all the time, but it is real. And that is, we might have to wait on the landing site before we can resume our operation. And if you are then in jeans that sucks the heat out of your body, and you can't keep your core temperature up, then jeans is a catalyst to get cold. So
And just
Take
on,
it from
Then
the
we have a
experienced
problem.
ones.
Yes.
and just
Yeah.
on ski pants, I know that your view
Yeah.
typically is that they're not waterproof, so they're not fit for purpose normally, but
No.
is that right?
Yeah, they're not. I mean, good ski pants have quite a bit of water resistance in them. So if you're very used to your ski pants and you know that they have kept you quite warm and dry on the slopes, then they will be okay here too. But you might experience that you get a little bit wet, but that's not a danger as long as it's just not, the masses of water is coming in and you're sitting in your jeans, for example, like Tudor is saying. So fine. But if you have a good pair of waterproofs,
I think the layer principle is good. I tend to wear a thermal pair of long johns, a pair of hiking trousers,
like I have.
and waterproof over trousers.
Yes.
And that's enough. Generally.
Yeah. It's also something about mobility. So don't just layer on, because if you're also going to be moving, you will feel like the Michelin Man. Yeah, it's terrible. So a good pair of like these sort of long johns on. I have wool long. We swear to wool, guys. Wool is what keeps you warm, and it also absorbs your sweat. So and it doesn't stick to your body, but it actually absorbs it onto the fabric, and it keeps you warm for a lot longer. So yeah, don't get me started on equipment. I'll keep going.
Well, I'll add one thing to the trouser ski pants debate, and just what I recommend for others as far as keeping operations smooth is if you have a choice between a pair of pants that are obviously waterproof looking and ones that might not look waterproof. Please go with the waterproof looking ones, just so no one stops you to ask, are these waterproof? Can you prove it? What brand are they? What's the fabric? Just to avoid any of that, because the expedition leaders are very worried about your safety and enjoyment out there. And I have seen that hold up the line a couple of times, even with jeans. Oh, I waxed them before I came. Well, that may be, but okay, so let's talk about the polar plunge a little more. Now that we're doing them off the ship, will we still be doing them from shore? Can you clarify that? And okay, well, there's a short answer there. Fantastic. And can you explain how the harness works during the plunge from the ship?
Yeah, so it's attached to your waist, because if it's above, then it could go over your head, but this one, it will stop under your armpits. So basically there is a rope at the end of the harness, and the person who is watching you and taking care of you as you jump into the water will be holding the rope as you jump. And I would say you don't even have to jump. When you go on from the platform, you go into a Zodiac, you can put your legs onto the pontoon, on the outer pontoon, and then you can just slide into the water. For those who don't want to do the whole hoo-ha, you have some people who really make theatrical jumps into the water, but you can do it more. What is the word we use nowadays? Demure, and be more demure about it as you go in. So, but you will be attached with the harness around your waist and a rope that will hold you on, so we can take you in quick. This is also because sometimes people can get cramps as they get into the water. Then we need to get you out of the water quick. So, but it's super experience. Yeah.
All right. I can't wait to do that myself. So, let's see, we're running a little bit over time, but I do have one more question to ask and one more thing I would like to clarify. Question being, where did it go? Oh, could you describe for those who might want to try and get a little bit of work done on board, what the internet is actually like?
So the internet connection, we use Starlink, so it's satellite-based internet. It is all included, so you don't have to pay. We use it as well for our work. It's the same system. There's no difference. So it's fine for emails, for WhatsApp messages. So generally, transfer of that type of data is fine. What it's not great for is streaming. So if you want to have a video call, there's often, you sometimes can do it, but it's often a lag. So not having, but being able to talk on WhatsApp or Teams tends to work, but not streaming. So if you do need to keep up with family, friends, or keep the office running, then you certainly can, and that's not so much of an issue. But it's not like being at home. It is it's like going back 20 years. 10 years.
And again, it doesn't work for downloading either. So you better be prepared with everything you need already on your devices.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there times or places when it may be better than others?
Generally, what's really interesting, if it snows or there's a lot of ice in the atmosphere, it seems to disrupt the signal coming. But if we're in a tight fjord system, like the landing places like Nico Harbour, then it's then the satellites can't get full coverage of the sky. But generally, it's pretty good in Antarctica. There's quite a bit of coverage.
It's surprisingly good there, actually.
Yeah.
For what it is.
Yeah.
At the edge of the earth.
But messaging apps are kind of the best solution to keep in touch with
messaging works very reliably. And emails as well, though, even though they might be a little delayed, they do work.
And normal news sites, if you want to browse news, newspaper sites and stuff like that. That's
if you just want to scroll Facebook, you'll see some stuff, but you won't get the little videos that pop up or anything. No. A lot of pictures will have trouble loading, but you can wonder what everybody's writing about them. Okay, so thank you for that. I do want to I'm going to touch on the medical screening stuff one more time and say if you have any questions about it, especially if you've already submitted and you're waiting to hear back, please email medical@hertogrouten.com for any inquiries you have regarding the medical screening process once you've started it. They handle it once you've submitted your first guest form, they take over from there. So it's medical@hertogrouten.com. They're your go-to people for that. And they're going to hate me for telling all these people all at once too, but there it is. And so we're going to wrap things up. We've already gone over our time. There's still lots of good questions left, and I hate we can't get to them. But so these questions that have been asked and answered are not available with the recording that you'll be receiving, just the ones we've talked about live. But you can reach out to us directly, and we are more than happy to answer any other questions you have. You can go to travelhx.com, and on the top right on desktop, and I believe it's on the left for mobile, there's a flag. Do the drop down there, choose the flag for your country, and then scroll all the way to the bottom for contacts. You can call us or email us, both work just fine, and we have answers for everything. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And that is it for me. Anyone
just one more from me. We will be sharing the link via email tomorrow by close of play with a YouTube recording of this session as well. So if you know people who weren't able to join it, we'll share it over email. But I'll now hand you over to Tudor.
Yeah, and also with that, we'll be sharing the survey to do afterwards to give us feedback, so we don't make bloopers like just talk about zodiacs like they're alien species, but so we can make sure we clarify things. But thank you all very much for tuning in and listening to us. Really good to be able to share with you, and really look forward to having you on board. Both Karen, myself, and Verena will all be on trips very early this season, so we might see you on board. So please come and say hello if you are there.
Exactly.
And we're hoping to get Ollie there as well at some point.
Yeah.
Close to there now, but yeah, really good to see you all, and all have amazing trips, and really enjoy Antarctica. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Enjoy.
Bye. Enjoy
Bye.
your trip.
Bye. Enjoy
Bye.
your trip.